can we focus a little bit on India and South America and talk about what you guys are doing with those countries and communities?
So we hired a guy who ran the U.S. Treasury India relationship at U.S. Treasury. He brought the Secretary of the Treasury to India for the first time. The Secretary of the Treasury had been there in like 25 years kind of thing. And he's very politically and very, there's a lot of like captains of industry in that, the whole country has like, 10 big conglomerates, one of the big conglomerate, and he kind of knows all of them. And so I was a little bit, the only question I had about him was like, how Web3, how like degen is this guy going to be? Does he understand like we need developers, we need coders? No. And so he shows up with a guy named Nikhil, who's like the biggest Algorand. You should have these guys on your show, actually. He's like the biggest Algorand fanatic in the world. They just happened to meet in an office one day, and he's super technical. And so he's running all of this training. And so they are really taking a top-down approach with a very high-level advisory committee and a bottoms-up approach trying to get developers. So they have now, I think you said in one of the questions that you sent earlier, that we were about to ink some partnerships, and we have inked these partnerships. We have a partnership with NIT Patna and JNTD Hyderabad, and these are big universities in India. And we have done, put like 100 professors through these programs. They're government-led programs. And so we're teaching the professors so that the blockchain curriculum is based on Algorand. The blockchain, what is blockchain is kind of like all the use cases and all the examples are Algorand. So we're pretty excited. And then those professors start blockchain clubs. And so we've started like 20 of these clubs already. And as part of the buildable, we're baking part of the buildable into the kind of India angle on it. And they've had a road to the Impact Summit. And as you know, we did not have Decipher this year. So we're taking this. So this Impact Summit is a pretty big part of what we're doing this year. And so this Impact Summit is going to be in India, and it is going to be focused on, obviously, it's called the Impact Summit. It's going to be focused on impact, solving real world problems, lots of examples from India, but also other protocols and companies coming in, but all very much focused on things like financial inclusion, self-sovereign identity, solving things for small, farmers and supply chain at a micro scale, micro carbon credits, that kind of thing. All of this like blockchain for good stuff, it's going to be the focus of that. So it's been a crazy roaring year on India. It doesn't come across our transom so much, but it's like on fire over there. And if you just look at, Algo Bharat had, one follower in February, and now it's really, it's a big presence on LinkedIn and Twitter and stuff. So they're hustling, those guys, for sure.
I would say, can you speak a little bit more on South America as well?
Yeah, of course. So we are very geared up now for LibitConf coming up. We're sending, I don't know how many people down there, 4 or 5 people down there. We, of course, have a very strong partnership with Koi Banks in Argentina. They're our partner there for helping us when we think about partnership and build out and implementation. They're an implementation partner for us. Of course, like all the noise that TravelX has been making recently. Yes. On NFT numbers, huge. It's really exciting, right? Agro Token as well is another, and we've got Fred, our very own Fred, of course, based in Brazil.
Fred's the best.
Yeah, in the comments right now. Shout out to Fred.
Yeah, some shout outs to Fred. And we've got Camilo in Colombia, and we've got, we just got a lot of sort of more and more boots on the ground. Do I have a head of Latin America the way that I have a head of India? So do we have like a continent-wide strategy? Not yet, but we are thinking about how are we going to, what are we going to do in 2024 to kind of build from the success of these, because these are also very real businesses, right? Like, if TravelX really does everything that it's trying to do, it is going to disrupt one of the biggest industries in the world, right? And they're making some pretty solid progress already. So we're psyched for it.
And one quick thing to add on the South American news. One, we've heard them hint, the CEO of TravelX, that, they're looking to bring any other big airlines. One, do you know of any, obviously we know Flybondi is the one that has minted up to the 1 million NFT tickets. Have you heard of any rumors of other, bigger airlines in South America or around the world that are partnering? And then with the Agro Token and Visa, the news was massive when Visa started saying that they were going to be using Solana, and obviously they're on Ethereum and stuff. But we see Visa, partnering and being used with the Agro token, even the N1U app. I think the CEO of Visa met with that team, and they're someone who does a lot of transactions. So, I guess why isn't that being, I guess, pushed more as far as from a marketing standpoint to show that, hey, Visa's not just on Ethereum and on Solana, Visa's on Algorand as well. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I will say that the CEO of TravelX, while we have a good, relationship, I would say he does not tell me what is upcoming in terms of airlines. But if he says something's coming down the pike, it's coming down the pike. He's a very credible guy, and he doesn't, he's not one of those guys that like makes big claims that aren't true. So I think we can expect some good news coming out of them if that's what he said. And I take your point on the, this Visa Solana news. It just really wasn't news of any kind, really. And so we're very cautious to not overstate things. I mean, remember when I said Nike, because Jessica came from Nike, and like everything blew up for a day because I was kind of, you make a couple of mistakes like that and you get very cautious about not saying things that don't really have legs, because this community, we're all, and myself included, by the way, we're hungry for good news. And so I'll give you another example. I think it was Polygon also joined the India, the Italian central bank incubator. Yeah. And so they sent out, so we had already joined. We were joined, 4 or 5 or 6 months before these guys, right? So we were one of the very first, if not the first, to be invited to participate in this incubator. We made a little bit of noise about it, but we were very cautious about it. We didn't kind of overstate it. And then, Polygon did say that. And the Bank of Italia was furious with that, right? Like, that's not how they like to roll. They're putting their toe in the water. They're trying to do this properly. They're trying not to make mistakes. They're going to have this incubator process. We're all going to be working together. The idea is that you work on substance. You don't use it for just grandstanding and headlines. So I guess I will say guilty as charged a little bit on that. And we could probably do a better job of doing a little more of that. But we try not to get in trouble, as you know.
Right. Yeah. You got to walk that tightrope of, not overhyping and not overpromising, but also keeping everybody happy, which is probably the toughest task you might have, is trying to keep everybody happy. You just watched a clip from episode 75 of The Next Block. If you enjoyed this clip, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. We have a bunch of great guests coming on, including Mark Yusko, the founder of Morgan Creek Capital, Anthony Scaramucci, the founder of Skybridge Capital, and so many other great names in the coming weeks. So be sure to subscribe. It definitely helps us get more great names in the future, and ping that notification bell so you never miss a thing. Check out the video description for ways to support the podcast, including checking out our sponsors, and hopefully we will catch you in the next video. Thank you.